What is up, guys? I hope we are all well. Welcome back to my YouTube. I've been a little bit slack, but this video has been pending. I'm gonna do a part 2 of PEDs, the what, the why, the who, the when, the where. I did a part 1 already, so make sure you go back and watch that. And in that, the reasons why I made the choice I did to go from natural to not natural, what I was taking, how much I was taking, and yeah, kind of went over everything there. And I did a little Q&A at the end, but I've got some more questions. So I'm going to go over mainly just the Q&A because I really did touch on everything in that video. So make sure you watch that video as well. But we can talk a little bit about what I'm doing currently, if anything, anabolic wise, which is 0. Since last year, I have only ever run 1 cycle off season in order to gain size. Like I spoke about, I did 1 8-week stint of Anavar to build some size at the end of my off season, and that was it. I touched on Anavar for 2 weeks in my prep. Like I'm not really going to count that, to be completely honest. 2 weeks is barely in our system, but in order to get those androgenic effects of taking anabolic steroid, like strength and muscle gain, which is why I took Anavar in the first place, I'm not going to get that in the 2 weeks. You're not going to see it. So we'll talk about that later, but I'm going to just touch on some of the questions. So there's some old ones on here as well that I didn't answer. So we'll go over those. Okay, why are they called PEDs? Performance enhancing drugs. Yeah, simple as that. So PEDs are just or PEDs, easy way to say performance enhancing drugs. They are enhancing your performance. Whether you wanna, like the way we look physically, our strength, why do we as bodybuilders take them, as well as bike riders, as well as professional whatever athletes? I know they're tested, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason why. It enhances our performance. Now, it won't be to its full effect if you are not already doing the basics, like I've spoken about. If you want to start taking steroids, I think you really need to make sure everything is in place. You've been training for a long period of time. You're already maxing out on your recovery. You're maxing out on your nutrition, on your training, on everything. All those boxes are being ticked, and you're willing to risk taking anabolic steroids. Because yeah, there's a risk involved, even in the lower dosages or less harsh drugs. Let's say on a scale for females, it's less harsh for me to take Anavar than it would be to go and take GH, Primo, testosterone. You know, there's a big difference there. So, but there's risks involved nonetheless. So you have to weigh up whether it's going to be worth it or not. When I say risks involved, obviously they're really low risks in my opinion, which is why I said, okay, I'm willing to do that risk versus reward, and I'm willing to do that in order to get the result that I want from taking them. So PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. So how do you administer them? So obviously myself, oral. Honestly, little tablet once a day on a training day and a rest day. 10 milligram tablets, obviously that's what I took, okay? So this is very different because people will inject them. Obviously they're injectables as well, depending on what you take, and depending on what you take. So I did orals. Now, the only kind of side effect with potentially not, or the downside of taking orals and not doing an injection is a little bit harsher on your liver. Anything that you put into your body is going to be broken down by your liver. So obviously, if we're taking something that's foreign to the body, like an anabolic steroid, it's going to have an effect on our organs. It's very important to make sure you are actually in a really good place in order to start a course of steroids, post-steroids, pre-steroids, or whatever, keeping an eye on that, and taking breaks from doing cycles. For your health, very important. If you're gonna run a cycle, you should technically be off a cycle for as long as you're on a cycle. Now, obviously, I have been off for a really long time. Like I said, it's been over a year because I did my first ever cycle in, I think it was February, maybe March. But yeah, it's been a long time. So if I wanted to, I could start another cycle now. Do I think that's best for me right now? No, I'm not really looking at adding on any more size right now. And the thoughts of competing are a little bit further away than they were last year. Obviously, I was Obviously, I was aiming for those 2023 shows, and I knew that to be competitive, I would have to get bigger. Now this is me not saying in order to be competitive, I have to take steroids. No, but read between the lines. In order for me to be competitive, I had to be more muscular, okay? For me to be more muscular, to pack on size, I have two options. I either take the shorter route, which means, yeah, I pop in an 8-week cycle and I train exactly the same. I do everything just as I was, but I've got that performance enhancer. Or I don't, and I spend the next 3 to 4 years doing that, when in reality, as a 31-year-old, I want to think about having children at some point, not competing for the next 3 or 4 years, okay? It's your timeline, which is kind of, and if I had a timeline like I did, I was willing to do that and obviously reap the rewards. So, but of course, yes, people do inject them as well. How much do they cost? Okay, so I am just reading off my anonymous questions. I can put them on the screen if you really want to see, but I don't think I'm not making these questions up. How much do they cost? Okay, they're really, I mean, now it depends on your stack. You guys saw the Liver King stack when that got leaked, £11,000 a month on steroids. Imagine he was claiming natty, and all the money that he was making from people believing he was natty, he was buying steroids with. The irony. So I spent, I mean, 50 quid last year, maybe, on anabolics. We can talk about Clen and Euhimbine, which is a fat burner. Although, yeah, some anabolic properties perhaps, or catabolic properties for clenbuterol, which will mean that it is preserving muscle mass, not necessarily helping build, but there could be some preservation of muscle mass there. But on Anavar, 50 quid last year. Okay, that lasted me a year. Yeah, wild. This is still, that's from last year. Yes, I just have it in my cupboard. Like, I'm not going to get rid of it. But yeah, there's it's not that expensive if you're not blasting every single steroid under the sun, which I think people are maybe a little bit confused about how much people take, what they're taking, how often they're taking, their dosages. You know, there's a lot to consider. It's not a blanket statement of saying, I'm not natural. Yeah, hi. And I've done one cycle. I did one cycle of 10 milligrams last year. Okay, but technically I'm not natural. I'm not going to call myself natural if I've taken something once in my life. But there's a big difference between me saying that or me saying, yeah, you know, I take Anavar, I take Primo, I take GH, I take Test, I take clenbuterol. Like, I know girls on those stacks. I saw someone post it a couple of days ago, and I thought, fucking hell, that's a lot. That is a lot, but she's a figure girl. Okay, she's trying to put on so much muscle mass, she's in figure. Like, these are things that people I don't think they're understanding now, this line between being a bodybuilder, it's just quite a lot of followers, being a bodybuilder and being an influencer. The line is getting so smooth that people are forgetting bodybuilders do things. Bodybuilders are like known for doing that. Okay, yeah, you can get natural, you're now getting like loads of natural federations. The IFBB are actually going to do more natural shows, fantastic. But we're talking like bodybuilding as a whole, the sport. Yeah, it's pretty much pro-drug. 99% of athletes are not natural. So people are getting their knickers in a twist when it comes to influencers, obviously being on gear, okay, and no shade. Maybe they're not saying it. Maybe they don't feel like they have to say it. The same way Ronnie Coleman doesn't need to put in his bio, natty or not natty. Like, everyone knows. But the thing is, people that followed people like Ronnie Coleman knew that, they were within that world, they understood and they respected. People that are following now maybe girlies, like Julia Renee, for example, no shade, Julia Renee, I mean, she's not natural. I can, hand on heart, she's not natural, right? But she hasn't addressed that she's not natural. And the amount of comments I see on her page about people telling her, but what about the steroids? But what about this? But what about all the gear you took? As if she has to say, I take gear. Yeah, of course I take fucking gear. I'm a wellness athlete. Like, have you seen the size of me? And have you seen the size of the girls that I am up against? Okay, she doesn't need to say it. But the people that are following her, girls who are newer to this, think that that's achievable for going to the gym for a couple of years, because she'll do a transformation for a couple of years ago. and it will be like your normal gym girly, boom, wellness IFBB Pro. Okay, they won't maybe know that in between that were anabolics, were androgens, were muscle growth stimulators. So I think it's a little bit of a touchy subject not everyone wants to talk about, and the fact that they're probably going to get blasted when they do talk about it for doing that and then talking about it, you really can't fucking win. So it's just like, take the drugs and be quiet. How much do you spend per month on PEDs currently? Zero. I have not brought PEDs since last year. The only thing I'm on now is clenbuterol, 1 tab on a training day. Obviously I was just in a little bit of a cut, so I was running clen and yohimbine. Now I'm not taking yohimbine anymore because we are more at just like a maintenance level. So clen is, at a very low dose, just gonna help me with potentially catabolic properties or keeping body composition just in a good place for my, off season, I don't know what you want to call it, live season. And that is a fat burner that doesn't have any androgenic side effects. I can talk about androgenic side effects because I think there's a question on what those are, but I have spoken about it before. How do you go about finding the right PED and who do you go to? I'm also interested. So the right PED is kind of your own research as much as being with a coach who knows this kind of stuff as well. If you're gonna take PEDs, you need to be with a coach who can advise you, who has knowledge and expertise in that area. I was with a natural coach when I first started, so something we didn't speak about was PEDs, because I'm not gonna ask a natural coach, hey, what PED should I take? Probably not gonna, it doesn't really align. But saying that now, no, that was something that I knew I was open to, and I think I brought up the conversation, and then, yeah, obviously my coach knows because she's knowledgeable in that. So it's just going by what I already know from doing my own research. Don't rely on other people to be telling you everything all the time. Do your own research. I knew that probably one of the lightest anabolic drugs would be Anavar. So that was going to be my go-to. And I don't think I would be interested in running anything harsher because I don't want to get any more muscular. Like, I'm really happy with where my physique is currently and where it was last year when I was shredded. Like, I just don't want to be, I don't need to be pushing any more boundaries than what I was getting really good results with Anavar. Okay, I was as a female anyway. I've shown my photos. I can show photos of when I was natural. I could already build a nice foundation of muscle. I was very athletic from before. I could get lean without taking any fat burners. I didn't take fat burners until the previous season, and we saw really good results from one cycle. If I kept repeating cycles, I was going to introduce potential side effects that are irreversible, that I might not want in the long term. For what? Because if I'm not chasing a pro card, like I'm not this year, for example, if I'm not chasing a pro card right now, why would I expose my body to androgens and potentially have side effects that then don't have the reward when I'm already happy where my physique is right now, okay? So yeah, it comes down to discussing with your coach, discussing with people who are knowledgeable in the area, and also doing your own research. Hey, I watched your video this morning on PEDs. Really interesting, and thank you for being so honest. You're welcome. Just one question I wanted to ask. You mentioned you can buy through your coach. Where do they get them from, and how do you know what they're getting is safe for you? So again, trusting your coach. I know that this stuff, I've seen this stuff before. It's actually been on someone else's video. I recognize the bottle, but it's lab grade, lab tested. I trust my coach. Yeah, I'm not buying from a backstreet dealer. Like, God, the same way if you were buying any drug from anyone who you didn't trust, who you don't know, God knows what's in that. Yeah? You don't fucking know. So be very careful. And if you really want to know, get it tested. There have been numerous accounts from what I've heard of people talking about wanting to get Anavar, thinking they're on Anavar, getting stuff tested, and it comes out that that actually is testosterone or something completely ridiculously more androgenic than Anavar is. So trusting your coach, knowing that what they're sourcing for you is high grade. Like, I'm willing to pay more to secure that higher grade than opposed to maybe a cheaper, lower grade. You a homie? Yeah. Like, where did you get them? Did you have any negative side effects? What are the benefits? What were the benefits? So yeah, spoken about where I got them from. I go through my coach, but I know that there's people in the gym. I have literally seen deals in front of me from one hand to another. I've seen it. So I know if I really wanted something, someone would have something. Did I personally have any negative side effects? No. I can honestly hand on my heart say no. No negative side effects for me. Now, let's talk about negative side effects potentially for females taking androgens. Okay, so straight off the bat, obviously the masculine tendencies. The facial hair, you can literally grow a beard. Enlarged clitoris, as if you're growing a mini penis. Deeper voice. Masculine chin, masculine features. I've seen girls turn from girlies to not so girlies, okay? Obvious heavy use of PEDs for a prolonged period of times. And we can't be thinking that they don't know what they look like or what's happened to them, because every time they look in the mirror, they're reminded of a choice that they made. It is their choice. Most of these girls are bodybuilders, figure athletes, physique. It's their choice to do that. And I'm all for it. Babes, you look insane, okay? Do it. Negative side effects, I mean, in general, for steroids, yeah, of course. I've some guys with acne. There's a lot of acne. If you're injecting things that have a lot of oily substances, see the organ damage. Guys, we're not forgetting that bodybuilders, oh my God, my fucking throat. We can't look over the fact that bodybuilders are dying young, yeah? I mean, there's been a few. Enlarged hearts, I can't remember what it's called, cardian something. Enlarged hearts, organ failure, heart attacks, cardiac arrest. There are, of course, now that is, you are talking you're maxing out on one cycle of Anavar, probably a very, very, very low, probably a very low risk of me having a heart attack, let's be honest. Of course, this is depending on how long you're running something, how many times you've run it, the doses you're running, what you're taking, the multitude of everything that you might be taking, hormones and steroids, for example, just the amount of what you're putting in your body that's foreign to your body. Yeah, there's side effects. We all know that guys will come in about 5 seconds. Erectile dysfunction, mood swings, night sweats. There's a lot, of course, it's called trend voice. But no, I had no bad side effects and no real side effects. You know, monitor yourself, be very aware of everything and kind of keep an eye on things. I don't really see any difference in my face. I don't really see any difference in my voice. I don't see any difference in anything. Oh, what are the benefits? So benefits, obviously muscle growth. I grew a shit ton of muscle in a very short amount of time from that one cycle. A muscle that stayed with me even now. You know, this isn't good lighting, okay? But yeah, I'll put some pictures on the screen. You can see the difference in potentially where my body composition is just right now. And obviously I work on that. Don't just forget, it's not just taking an anabolic last year is gonna mean that I'm still in a really good place. No, I have worked hard and I continue to work hard in order to look the way I do. But do I have more muscle mass? Yes, especially on my shoulders. That was what I was really lacking last year. One of the reasons why I spoke about wanting to do it was because the balance between my glutes and my upper body was quite significant. And in bikini, they really want that nice balance there. So I needed a big upper body and I really wanted to just grow. I was just like, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to take this next step. The next step for me was obviously being not natty. Hadn't been natty for competing for 4 years natural, and then competing, lifting weights for 8, 9 years natural. I did, that last season just unnatural. So yeah, I found massive side effects. So I had some really good results from that with muscle growth. My strength felt really good. Initially, straight off the bat, increase in strength, kind of felt like everything felt light. It was, I felt great on it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not telling anyone else to do it, but if you want my honest opinion, I'll be honest, I felt really good on it. So yeah, would I do it again? If I wanted to build more muscle, yes. If I didn't want to build more muscle, no. I did mention it not that long ago. I said I'm thinking about it because I just want to be like, I want to look like a superhero, okay? And I want to be like sculpted and crafted. But then I'm like, do you know what? You're very much there and you can control that more with my nutrition than anything else. If I want to look more sculpted, great, we'll be a little bit leaner. If I want to look bigger, we'll eat a little bit more. Easy. How do you take these, like a tablet injection? Yeah, myself, tablets, haven't injected. So, cool, that's the end of the Q&A. I think I've pretty much answered everything that anyone wants to know. If you've got any more comments, obviously let me know in the comment section. I can do another one. I can do a part 3. I can do a really in-detailed video on, maybe I can go into more detail if you want me to, but this is kind of everything that I have to say about them really. But yeah, I hope this answers questions if you have them, and I hope that it makes sense if you don't know anything about them, that it might enlighten you a little bit. I just don't like the idea of people thinking that they're magic and people look the way they look because they've taken roids. Okay, because some people have taken a lot of roids, some people are not taking a lot of roids, but if you say you're not natural, you're not natural. And there's actually, the last thing I'll finish on is the IFBB have brought out these natural shows, right? Now they do have natural pro shows, but they're bringing out more. The rules are you have to be 3 years, I think. I believe the current rules are you just have to test you have to test natural when you do the test. That's not to say that you couldn't have done them in your life training course and then go and compete. Yeah, I could get away with doing natural shows because it would no longer be in my system. Obviously, long gone, I could get away with doing a natural show. Like that, to me, if you're not natural, you're not natural. If you've taken something once, you're not natural. So I think that's a little bit shit because you could have trained for 2 years, blasting gear, not do anything for a year or 2, go on stage. I think I can't remember is it 3 years or 3 months that they're saying you have to be off. Can't be 3 months, it's got to be longer than that. Can't remember, but I don't agree with that. I think if it's gonna be a natural show, it has to be lifelong natural. And if you're lying, that's on you. There are plenty of people who compete in natural shows who are not natural, okay? There are also plenty of people who compete in non-natural shows who are natural. Yeah, you can do both. Well, you can do that, but you can't do the other way around. If you're not natural, you're not natural. So that's all I have to say on that. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments, any comments about about it. I'm not claiming I'm an expert. I definitely don't think I'm an expert. I know the risks involved, I know the rewards involved, and like I said, I was willing to try it once, and yeah, have really nothing bad to say about my experience with it, but I'm very happy but I do understand that not everyone's experience is the same. I'm actually in the process of filming a little catch-up week in the life, so that will be going live next week, but yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day.